There is a chauffeur mode, softening up the suspension in the rear, adding more travel to the throttle and brake pedal so that your stops and takeoffs are even smoother. Hey crew, I've got the key to that 23 Genesis G90. We are going to take it for a drive, but first let's check out how it looks on the inside and outside. Redesigned for 23 to bring it in line with the latest Genesis design language, we have this truly massive grille with a dark chrome treatment, these twin thin LED headlights, DRLs and turn signals. Down low is functional ventilation all the way across. This paint job is called Capri Blue, and it's got a metallic flake on the paint surface. At the side is a set of 21-inch alloy wheels wrapped in Michelin Primacy Tour all-season tires, 245 section front and 275 at the rear. Within those wheels are brown brake calipers, and then the turn signals wrap around and continue here on the side. There's body color matching for the door mirrors and chrome window trim. The door handles flush mount when locked. Stepping back to look at the profile, I like what they did at the C-pillar there. The kink of the rear window and that definition of the haunch is a good look. And as we get to the back, they finished it off nicely with the LED taillights and turn signals with this integrated duckbill for the trunk lid, Genesis spelled out, and then two chrome exhaust finishers for the two pipes. Overall, the new G90 is kind of further establishing Genesis's design language, and it is eye-catching. I'm not going to go so far as to call it beautiful, but what do you guys think? Is this better or worse looking than the new Mercedes-Benz S-Class? Let me know in the comments, and let's check out the interior. Opening up on the passenger side, because if you're sitting in the back seat of the G90, this is the choice seat you want to be in. And looking inside at this dune-colored interior, which on the upper of the two G90 trims brings every option available, including this Nappa leather seating that has quilting and seat perforations, rear seat heating, ventilation, and massage. There are these suede padded pillows. You get your seat controls right there. On the doors are two tones of leather. We have these open pore wood inlays, which look and feel amazing, along with these metal inserts. There's a Bang & Olufsen 23 speaker sound system. You have your seat controls here, along with some sun blinds on each of the back passenger windows and on that back glass. Then down low, we have our door opening button, which will actually push out the door a little bit and then the rest you do yourself. Down low is some injection molding, and these tread plates are textured. Attention to detail, love it. Stepping inside and closing up my door with a button here in the center. With that hard work done, we can see some of the ambient lighting showing up here. There are air vents on the pillar and in the center, and underneath those is USB-C port and DC outlet. We've got a map pocket. That's underneath more open pore wood trim on the seat back that I did try to match to my driving position at 6 feet tall. So we can see I've got plenty of legroom. The foot pockets are definitely narrower, and that hinders thigh support somewhat. Headroom is close. My head just barely clears the roof, but it does, and I can angle my seat back down, so I've got more room, and I'm very comfortable now. So that gets the thumbs up from me, and my head is underneath a suede-wrapped headliner. We've got a second sunroof back here. There's a vanity mirror that pops on down, and in the center is a tablet to control all of your features. You can get into lighting, you can operate these sunshades, you can work your climate control, and get into the seat settings. And if I hold this rest button, it's going to send the passenger seat forward and recline the seat and bring up a thigh extension. So let's do that. And we're going to cut the wait time and just show you what it looks like at the end. And magically, while waiting, my shoes have been removed. So this is my setup. I've got a little bend in my leg. My feet are resting on the seat back, and I don't have a crazy recline. But this is still so nice. And in the center, other things to show. We've got some storage in the console, two USB-C ports there, wireless smartphone charging pad, and science will explain why these LED lights actually purify whatever you put back there. The back seats of the G90 are just fire. Let's check out the front next. All right, I've moved back to the driver's side for the door close noise, and you can in fact slam the door. So we're just going to use the auto close feature that you access by pressing here. And it makes for a solid sound, and even the soft close is very subtle. Up in the front, we also find heated, ventilated, and massaging seats. They are extravagantly designed like the back seats. You have so many different adjustments. We've got more aluminum tread plates. We have pretty plain looking foot pedals. To open the trunk, we hold that button for just a moment. And inside we find 11 cubic feet of space, not as much as some of its full-size sedan competitors, but still decent. And there is a pass-through window right there. There's a power close and lock feature on the trunk lid, and it's also kick sensing with the key fob in your pocket. There are power adjusting and power folding door mirrors. You've got this button for the rear sun blind. And down here, this tab is on all 4 doors. It's a manual override of the auto opening feature. Like the back doors, I also have a button to close them up in the front. And we'll turn the vehicle on, putting it in accessory mode to activate our 2 screens. We've got a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster that is reconfigurable somewhat. It basically just puts the map on full. And then a 12.3-inch touchscreen infotainment system that is really quick responding. The graphics are sharp. It's very easy to navigate. And if you don't want to touch the screen, you've got a controller down here. It's got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but they're wired, not wireless. Around the screen is a ton of leather and wood. The styling here is top notch. I even like these little extension arms that come around the gauge cluster. The steering wheel looks cool to me. Yeah, I know it's a 2-spoke setup, but it's got dimensionality here and amazing materials. There's a head-up display, heated leather steering wheel. HVAC controls are here with physical inputs. Slide this forward to find 2 cup holders. You've got a fingerprint scanner to bring up a profile of your settings, volume knob, or volume dial rather, and a tuner dial. Your gear selector is here, and it's got some fun colors to it. Wireless smartphone charging pad is in there. Under the padded leather armrest, we find a little bit of storage with 2 USB-C ports and a DC outlet. Visibility is pretty good. Yeah, the back pillar is a bit of a blind spot, but we've got blind spot monitoring with blind spot cameras and rear cross traffic alerts. This cabin is a knockout to me. I love the design, love the materials. The mix of analog and digital is great. I'm ready. Let's take the G90 for a drive. All right, let's fire it up. What a subdued startup. Not only was the noise kept down, but also the vibration in the body when the engine started up was just so gentle. And I gotta say, the idle of the G90 is a murmur. It's perfect if you want a peaceful start to your day. Drive mode, selected here. Let's begin in comfort. I feel like that's appropriate. And then we'll go into reverse by cranking left on the gear selector, which vibrates when you do that. And that brings up a high-resolution backup camera. We've got our bird's eye view off to the right. We've got the 360 cam. You can work your way around. A front-facing camera. And then our trajectory line. So let's back on out of here. Can really feel that rear-wheel steering system working to maneuver us well in these tight spaces. Let's begin with the world-famous horn test. Oh. So dignified, that horn. I love it. Stately. Turn signal sound with our blind spot camera going. Gentle as well. Gone is the 3.3-liter twin-turbocharged V6. Gone is the 5-liter V8. Instead, we have the 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6 borrowed from the Genesis G80. It's mated as standard with a 48-volt mild hybrid system and optionally equipped, as we have in this vehicle, with an electric supercharger. That raises the output from 375 horsepower in the base model to 409 with 405 pound-feet of torque. E-supercharger or not, the G90 motor is mated to an 8-speed automatic gearbox, sending power to all 4 tires. The gear changes are only faintly discernible, very much in the background. And here in Comfort Drive mode, the throttle response is not dead, but it is mild. With that E-supercharger, peak torque comes in from just 1,700 RPM, so there doesn't feel to be a dead spot at all in this power band. The seats are wonderfully supportive and comfortable, though I've got to say, I'm sitting higher than I would like. I have this seat as low as it goes, and I still feel like I'm sitting on top of the sedan instead of within it. The ride quality from this adaptive damper suspension with air springs is excellent. It quells road imperfections, takes the bruising out of bumps very well. It doesn't waft quite the same way as an S-Class, but the isolation is on par. Now we'll really test out that rear wheel steering system with a turning radius test here. And it pivots right around. It takes some of the fear factor away from this very long sedan in terms of close quarters maneuvering. Cabin insulation is largely great, though I am hearing more wind noise than I would have expected in the Genesis flagship. Your conversations with your passengers can still be subdued thanks to an acoustic laminate to the glass and a noise-canceling effect from this Bang & Olufsen sound system. Let's try out a real-world 0 to 60 test next. For that, I've got my race box set up here, and then I'm going to change up the drive mode to Sport. There's no launch control, of course, so I'll just brake boost it and let my foot go. All right, let's see it. There it is in 5.5 seconds. It felt quick enough, just certainly not rushed. There was some hesitance off the line as it seemed to sort of want to wait to let itself go. And then as we got into second gear, then it surged forward. So the G90, with its over 400 horsepower, it'll move, but not in any way that will scare you. And that engine noise is actually quite nice. I like the sound of that twin-turbo V6. There's a sonorous note to it. It's a good enough sound to make you want to string it out a little bit. And if you want more control over the engine, you can take manual by pulling on these paddles. There is no manual mode. And furthermore, there's no tachometer view. I'll show you the different views of the screen. That's it. So you just have this readout of your RPM, but no showing of your red line. So you got to know it's around 6,500 RPM. But it honestly doesn't matter because it's going to upshift for you itself. The pace this car can achieve is considerable. It's just clearly not a driver's car. But is it a car to be driven in? Well, showing you that Genesis might be thinking about that, there's a chauffeur mode. If you hold the drive mode button, it'll take on that mode and prioritize rear passenger comfort, softening up the suspension in the rear, adding more travel to the throttle and brake pedal so that your stops and takeoffs are even smoother. Before we close the books on the G90's dynamics, let's go back to sport mode and see about the braking and handling. Carrying some speed into this curve, I'll dive on the brakes. Ooh, smooth stop. A lot of lean in the corner. A measure of feedback through the wheel though, and strong power out of the curve. The braking inspired confidence while sticking with the theme of smoothness for this car. The steering feel was sufficient, the lean was very heavy in the corner. The dynamics of the G90 are definitely not on the same par as the BMW 7 Series or Mercedes-Benz S-Class. Now let's activate some of the driver assistance features. So we got adaptive cruise control going with a lane keep assist feature that will keep us in the center of the lane. There's also a lane change feature. So if I indicate one direction and there is an opening, it will change lanes for me. And the lane change is one of the only times it will ask you to check in on the wheel regularly. Otherwise, you can keep your hands off the wheel for quite a while. You got to pay attention, of course. This is not as up to date as something like the new 7 Series, where it's completely hands-free at highway speeds up to, I think, 80 miles per hour. Not as cool as Cadillac Super Cruise, but these features work well and they do reduce driving fatigue on long distances. Speaking of the new 7 Series, there's one right there. And speaking of reducing fatigue, I feel like that's something the G90 does very well. And so it works with the miles per hour word of the day for this 23 G90, which is tranquil, meaning free from commotion. I feel like you hop behind the wheel of the G90 and your feathers feel a little less ruffled. You're less disturbed by things that go on around you. You'll make it to your destination in time and you'll do it comfortably. Before hopping into competitors, one of which we just saw, let's talk about the fuel economy and top speed. Top speed is 132 miles per hour, which is less than its main rivals. The fuel economy is 17 mpg in the city, 24 on the highway, and 20 combined. The starting figure of the non-e-supercharged G90 is $90,000, and if you want that e-supercharger, then it'll cost you about $100,000. And this one, as tested with the Capri Blue paint job, is just over that $100,000 threshold. The competitors include the 7 Series and S-Class, and you'd think maybe you would consider the entry-level versions of those cars, but because this is the range-topping G90, and because, at least in the 7 Series case, you can't get all-wheel drive unless you step up to the 760i, we're going to go one tier up for the 7 and for the S-Class. So the 760i xDrive starts at $115,000. It makes 523 horsepower. It gets to 60 in 4.2 seconds, and the fuel economy is 21 combined mpg. The Mercedes-Benz S580 starts at $119,000. It makes 496 horsepower, gets to 60 in 4.4 seconds, and manages fuel economy of just 19 combined. The Genesis G90 has never been closer to its competitors in terms of luxury and exterior styling than ever before. But the S-Class still has this edge in terms of technology, safety features, ride comfort, and prestige that the G90 can't match. If you fully spec out an S-Class or a 7 Series, and rather at least just getting similar equipment to the G90, then you're looking to spend at least $30,000 or $40,000 more than the fully kitted out G90, and that means that the G90 is still a crazy bargain, and because it's closer than it ever was before, it's worth considering if you're thinking about saving a little bit of money. and you don't mind less than incredible driving dynamics. The ride comfort's here. It's gonna draw some attention. When you pull up to a nice restaurant, it's got those things nailed. I hope you guys have enjoyed this POV drive review, and let me know in the comments which you would choose, G90, S-Class, or 7 Series. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and share it. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell to get notified, and I'll see you next time.